Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the emergency room at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. You should see what happens when a couple of Oompa Loompas really get,
That's why my throat is sore. It's all those gobstoppers.
Yeah, there was a knife fight over
that's why. It's not about yelling at Joe to stop touching that.
Yeah. I find it ironic, though, that the Oompa Loompas are both the surgeons and the ones that really inflicted all the pain here.
And they're also the chaplains singing to you.
Yeah, it's sort of a one-stop shop.
Which version of Willy Wonka's hospital room are you in? Because are you in the doll burn unit? Or are you over in the chocolate reclamation? Or are you in the blueberry juicing department?
It's the blueberry pumping station where all the action is. But you guys, okay. And so welcome to Geek Tank
For
Radio,
those of
everybody.
you out there in the actual pop culture thing, if you want to know what Willy Wonka is, you can just look it up because apparently Joe lives in the 50s.
Well, I knew I'd trigger Brand. If I didn't get a reaction, then
I swear, dude, whoever writes these intros and these rejoiners, they need to join the 2020s.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever really does a terrible job. But anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
Well, maybe if we paid for content, it'd be different.
I'm Joe Thornton here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And we have a sort of a wide-ranging buffet of topics that we're not going to over-tease, Brandon, because we know what happens when we do.
We end up not getting to it all, but dude, don't mention buffet at the chocolate factory.
Okay. All right.
I perked up.
Yeah.
So we're never going to get Alan back on the mic now.
Okay. For somebody that hates these goofy intros, you still, we're 2 minutes in and you're still talking
I'm all about
Brandon.
contributing.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, a couple of things. Later in the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Max rollout. And Max, we're not talking about you. We're talking about the HBO Max, which is now just Max. Wait, is it even?
All right, so
I don't even know what it is.
It was HBO Max and Discovery Plus. Now they are one thing, and it's called Max. And I think our producer needs to sue for copyright infringement.
I think you should make some money on that, Max.
Because they are Max. And if you're watching it on TV, they're behind the glass.
Right. So there's that. We're going to talk about that because I see videos all over the internet, Alan, with all the those usual guys that make a living off of being mad about stuff and saying what a train wreck the Max rollout is and everything. So I'm sure, Brandon is always the most educated in these. So
trust me,
let him.
There's some stuff there that I think will make Alan go a little ballistic too.
Okay. In that vein, I guess I just have a question, and I don't know if it's relevant, but is the summer blockbuster a thing of the past? I kind of think it is. I don't know. I mean, it's movie culture is not what it was.
No, it's really not. I've found that recently my favorite theater experiences are actually when I get around to seeing something small.
Okay, so we'll talk about that, and we've got other things if we need to, but we probably won't. We know how things go, but I wanted to point something out, Brandon. There was a great story that came out. Actually, full disclosure, we discussed it yesterday on Tool Talk, and I said this is right in Brandon's wheelhouse. Yeah. There's a man. I was surprised by your reaction to this. There's a man. He's a neurosurgeon that lives in Georgetown, which is and he lives in the elite side. This is where the wine and cheese and people live.
Fancy people we want to send us money.
It's a $3.7 million townhome, and out front, as part of his aesthetic and decoration, he put 2 giant Transformer statues, one of Optimus Prime, they're about 10 feet tall, one of Bumblebee, and he has a third Optimus Prime statue on the roof guarding the neighborhood.
Right.
And, the HOA is not happy about it, and even some of his neighbors, but some neighbors love it, and the debate is, what should happen? Should he have to take them down, or
Well, I am a firm believer in expression, artistic expression.
Sure.
I'm also a big Transformer fan, so of course you would think that I'd be on his side.
Yeah.
But I also have a love for historic architecture, and when someone comes in, and you've got a place that's it's got history upon history upon history,
right?
And you want to, the castle here in town is the biggest example of that. We have seen, people who are coming in to restore it And then it's changed hands 14,000 times since we were involved in the situation.
Right.
And they've taken out the stained glass. And while they're putting up brick, it doesn't look right. It looks cheap.
Oh, I see.
Here's the perspective I was just thinking about, gents.
What?
Speaking of adding old new things to old, well, how would you feel if, in the beautiful countryside of ancient Japan, all of a sudden you saw like a giant tacky Godzilla statue? So it's like that would completely destroy the aesthetic of like, oh, here's our wonderful past, and then here's Godzilla to destroy them all.
Well, but here's the thing, Brandon. These are not, okay, Max. That's a giant structure that you could almost call a permanent structure. These are statues that are basically where most people in the neighborhood put like flower pots and stuff. He chose to put, so they're not. He didn't change the building. He just put decorations that they don't like.
All right,
and
so
they are well made. We should say these are nice looking.
Oh no,
statues,
I've seen them. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
But you, my friend, are a contractor.
Yeah.
Alan, you worked in landscaping and construction and everything under the sun. You both understand curb appeal. All right, so you understand curb appeal. This isn't even about something like that. This is about you live in a place that has, like I said, it has a storied history. At no point, I mean, if you could come in there and go, Lorenzo de Benaventura, who produced the Transformer cartoon for American audiences, used to live here. Okay, I could understand you wanting to put an Optimus Prime out front.
Okay.
This guy's a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
He's a nerd beyond nerd. He's one of us.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point where things get and this is coming from a guy who turns his entire house into a cemetery.
You are just vehemently against this whole thing.
If I lived in a historically put together place, I mean, I wouldn't change it. I'd add a little decoration here and there, but nothing that betrayed the aesthetic. And while I like the Transformer statues he has, I even like the little Optimus that he's got.
I love it.
I am very much of the opinion that they don't go there.
Okay.
And it's because of his historical landmark.
All right, we're gonna have some closing thought because I find myself sort of disagreeing. I guess I just want to keep the debate alive. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Pay no attention to the men in the hazmat suits. The Geek Patrol is back.
Yeah, I mean they're just doing their duty. They're here to help.
Yeah,
I brought them. I'll take them back. It's all right.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. You don't need to ask any questions. I promise.
Absolutely. And welcome back to
the
Geek
infection
Tank.
is real.
Yeah, you got that right. The results are real. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, boy, we are in the middle of a surprising debate. I didn't think there would be a debate out, Brandon. I thought you and I would be in sync on this. In full disclosure, I'm not 100% on the side of this person. But if you're just tuning in, there is a neurosurgeon, very successful neurosurgeon living in Georgetown in the premier historic district of Georgetown. He has a $3.7 million townhome.
He's in the lower half of the upper 1%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he decided in a way to decorate, he wanted to decorate it according to his taste. So he took two 10-foot statues of the Transformers, one of Optimus Prime, one of Bumblebee, made of recycled car parts. It looks beautiful. These are good-looking statues.
They are awesome looking.
But the HOA is in an uproar. They're saying these have to come down. Yeah. They're cool, and they become a tourist. People are dropping by.
And therein lies the problem.
But Brandon, I thought you would appreciate. Okay, you appreciate the art, but you're totally against this guy.
Well, see,
I'm surprised.
All right. So let me talk a minute about my house.
Okay.
Now, anybody who knows me knows that about by the end of September, I start decorating my house for Halloween, and we have tombstones and fences and spider webs and glowy things and hanging bats and stuff like that.
Right.
And we do it because we still have young kids in the neighborhood, but also because
that's not why you do it.
No, that's why Amy wants to keep the house decorated.
Right.
Me, I just say it as my opportunity to let my psycho flag fly.
Right.
But the one thing that is a problem in my neighborhood, when that happens, and it's a problem for my neighbors, and a couple of them have said something over the years. They've kind of gotten used to the fact that I'm going to do it, but people stop to take pictures.
Yeah,
people block the road because they get out of their car with their phone there and they just take pictures.
Yeah,
we don't have it as much since the pandemic, but that was one of the biggest problems early on. Now imagine, if you will, your neighbor has these 2 giant Transformer statues out front. I love tourism, but tourists don't take care of their trash or their animals, or, hey, I'm walking down this road. I just took a picture of this Optimus Prime. I got really excited. I'm going to pee in this guy's bush.
Now that's a pretty I mean, okay, Brandon, where do you go on vacation? Because I've gone places where you behave yourself depending on the neighborhood.
No, Joe, you behave yourself.
Oh, come on.
You are a decent individual. You are a good human being.
You're too young to be a get off my yard kind of guy, Brandon.
Joe, on a regular basis, I have to clean other people's trash out of my yard because they just throw it in the street. Imagine what it's like when you've got a bunch of tourists traveling to this one space to take a picture.
Okay, that was one objection.
All right, so we're going to talk about your house now. Your house,
oh, yeah, great.
You bought Mongo's house. Prince Mongo, King of Zambodia.
Used to live there.
He's a prince of Zambodia.
Right. No. Okay. He is
He's
king now.
He's not a king.
The last time he was campaigning, he is a king now.
Oh.
Yeah,
so
he got promoted.
He promoted himself.
Okay.
And he stopped wearing shoes again.
Yeah.
But he used to have a toilet on top of your house. He used to have a car in your front yard. And people used to stop to take pictures of that house. Think about your intersection.
Yeah.
Think about how much of a cluster that caused at that intersection.
Which is why he did it.
Okay, but that was not well executed art. A toilet on a roof is not the same as a beautiful, well-constructed Transformer statue.
Joe, based on what anybody who's listened to Tool Talk knows about you, you would go on a tour of houses with toilets on their roof.
Well, yeah, I bought one. But Brandon, I want to. But here's the other debate is the HOA. All the people, not all the people. Some people in the neighborhood.
Now
love
I'm going to say this. The HOA need to shut up.
Okay, but here's the thing, Brandon. What if you've got 50 neighbors?
Right.
And 30 of them like it. They think it makes the neighborhood interesting.
Right.
Well, then what happens there?
Well, when your location is also a federally recognized historical district, you listen to whatever the Federal Board of Governors tells you.
Okay, question 2. These are temporary, basically, decorations out front. Well, does that necessarily lower the property value of everybody around him, or is it just they just don't want to look at it?
No, it's not.
The tourists do.
His Transformers do not lower the value. What lowers the value is when they become permanent fixtures and a tourist attraction.
What if you own a coffee shop in the neighborhood and suddenly you're getting all sorts of business because of this?
Your coffee shop in that district is still governed by the HOA and the Federal Board of Governors that runs that district.
Okay.
Look,
I don't know.
I don't like a lot of laws, but they're there, and therefore I follow them. There's,
and you are really.
I mean, I don't.
Joe's looking at me like, "Did you get to him before he got in here?" No.
I read the article, and I love the statues. I love the artistry of it all. But I also understand that there are certain guidelines you have to follow. It's the same ones where you have to make sure that your guys get permits before they, build a fence.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you go to build a new fence in a district like that, you have to be up to what their standards are. You paid to live in an elite place. It'd be like me moving into Bartlett and then putting a yacht in my yard that has a big hole in it. They are not going to like that. Bartlett is very angry about that.
And you named it Art.
I would name it Art.
You can call anything art. So I don't know. It's. I don't think the debate is going anywhere because this guy's digging his heels in. He says, "I'm not moving this."
It'll
unless
eventually.
They pull a.
He will.
It'll eventually come down to him having to pay a fine, and remove them. Or the city or the district will confiscate them, and he'll have to go to court to find a new home for them.
Okay, I don't know. It's very interesting because the other question is real quick, Brandon. We've fought for years for geekdom to become accepted mainstream over the last 15 or 20 years. Now we are the mainstream, but does this hurt our cause?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But only because of the fact that geekdom has become flooded with gatekeepers and everything else under the sun, and him saying, I'm better than you because I'm a Transformer fan and I'm a neurosurgeon. No, dude.
See, I thought
you got to follow the rules, man. I hate the rules, but you got to follow them.
I thought the big beef would be just the style isn't in with Transformer canon. I don't know.
Nope.
All right, guys, enough of this. We're going to discuss. We have a lot more to discuss, including the disastrous rollout of Max.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Even a pair of vibranium diapers couldn't hold back the produced on this show.
Wow.
The Geek Patrol is back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even test that theory, Max.
What's really sad is we're still the best show on the station.
I mean, I know vibranium is the miracle substance and all, but I don't know. Okay.
I'm just wondering if that's a vibranium decoration on the top of the W Hotel in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Wow. Good one, Max. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
You know it's a good rejoinder when they got to invoke the show from the day before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and the snickering Max, Max, we got to get back to work here, so get it together. Hey, you guys, if you're just tuning in, we were discussing, discussing this Transformers statue, which really has become a polarizing topic on the show because Brandon, who should be behind this guy, is against him. And, I
think that this guy either needs to donate him to the university where he teaches, because they'd look awesome on the quad, or he needs to take a touring show and hit up various conventions like the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention.
Okay.
They'd look really good outside the Holiday Inn at the University of Memphis.
They're going to wind up somewhere. He's showcase, he's using this to his advantage.
My one last thing to say about this is that now that he's decided to dig in his heels and he has gotten this on a national scale,
right?
They're either going to get stolen or vandalized.
Okay.
Because miscreants know about it now and they're going to come out of the woodwork because that's what they do.
They're going to go steal Optimus Prime's head and use that as the famous Optimus Prime
come on.
statue.
Somebody created a robot that was going across the country doing nothing but being polite to people.
There you go.
And someone felt the need to break it.
Now, do you think the Transformers need vibranium diapers?
Okay, Max.
They leak oil everywhere. It's not going to help.
Okay.
Anyway.
Then, thanks, Max.
But I do based on our rejoinder, I do want to bring up what you spoke about on Tool Talk yesterday about that hotel.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're turning okay, so we're not going to do
No.
Right.
I'm drawing a parallel.
Okay.
Don't mess with my segue.
Okay.
So tell me about this hotel.
All right. Well, Alan brought the thing to his immature sense of humor couldn't resist.
I saw this and went, this is so for Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
I want our audience to know what I'm comparing Max to.
Right.
Okay.
So
not you, Max.
$800 million later.
Right.
They get done with this beautiful, beautiful facility. It's shopping, it's theaters, it's restaurants. It's a beautiful hotel, and it is designed to look like curling ribbon or possibly curling film.
Right.
Unfortunately, it makes 5 curls and ends in a little lift at the top.
And looks like a giant poop emoji.
And
it looks exactly like one. I mean, like not even sort of.
And from the right angle, you look at it and go, I cannot unsee it now.
And that is what David Zaslav has done with Discovery Plus and HBO Max as he's combined them together in one streaming service, and it's a complete pile of crap.
Oh, very good.
Wow.
Brandon. Okay, now that's a segue. That's how you segue.
Right.
Okay.
So,
because that's what we're talking about, Max, right?
Max.
Not our Max.
Our Max rocks.
Thank you.
Streaming service of
the
Max.
streaming service that Warner Brothers and Discovery have decided to use.
Formerly known as HBO
We're
Max.
just going to call it Zaslav Vision.
Max or something? What?
So here's the thing that the one of the things that genuinely aggravated the unholy crap out of me and a lot of other people is that rather than on their thing, you go to watch, say let's say you were going to watch Big Bang Theory or Friends or something like that that's on HBO Max.
Okay.
And you go to see all right, they usually list the directors of episodes, the showrunner, stuff like that. Well, now, whether it's movies, TV, whatever, when they first launched it, instead of giving people their actual credits, they just listed them all as creators. So someone who has an executive producer, tag on a TV show that they were on It's now listed right next to the director and the showrunner under creators. They didn't give them their actual, their actual title. Now they said this was an oversight. Oh, this is just what the algorithm did. We're gonna get this fixed. It's gonna take them weeks to get it fixed. This is not something an algorithm does. This is something that was a genuine. We're gonna do this so we can pretty much avoid all of this garbage that's going with the writers' strike, the possible SAG-AFTRA strike that's coming out. The directors who went behind everyone's back and made a deal that's apparently this historic deal that's now making the writers look bad for striking. It basically lumped everybody who's ever worked on a show together as creators, not writers, not directors, not producers, not anything like that. Just creators.
Are you saying even like the key grip or the person at the craft services table is now part of a creator? Or,
well,
I guess I'm just wondering how far that extends. So
they're not gonna list everybody in that little thing. I mean, just like they wouldn't. It's like in their the normal show credits. It's all still the way it's supposed to be.
Oh,
this is just when you go to the description page of thing. It's like I'll use Netflix as the perfect example because I don't have HBO Max. I don't have Max. I canceled that subscription a long time ago.
I did too after I watched Batman. So
pretty much.
Yeah.
So I they decided it's like if you want to go watch The Batman, Matt Reeves, The Batman. Matt Reeves and 2-Bit executive producer are both listed under creators.
That's interesting. And there's, like you said, there's probably a sinister reason. There's got to be. It's not an accident. Why would an algorithm do that?
Right, it wouldn't.
But I'm just curious.
Well, an algorithm would. A human programmed it.
Right.
But Brandon, you've been telling us for years that it looks like the way this whole, the way they're canceling shows, the way they've conducted their business looks like a company, for one thing, that's got financial problems, but also a company that was poised to maybe sell itself off. And this really sounds like another one of their kind of schemes.
It really does still feel like, Zaslav's entire point of, as CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery is to basically shed IP to someone else, license things out, make money off of that, and then poise the whole studio set up to sell.
So, is that what you think's going on?
That's what I think is going on. And there are other people out there that think it. Some people just think he's just a greedy jerk who wants to make as much money humanly possible and then run away. Which, when you look at the numbers that came out recently with the writer's strike kicking off, Zaslav is leaps and bounds above all the other streaming CEOs as far as how much money he took in last year.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, there's going to be more to unpack, and we're going to do that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Why did RoboCop just walk into the studio? The Geek Patrol is back.
and why did Alan just put on the vibranium diapers? Okay.
Not touching that one with a Beskar pole.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pleading innocent. I Mr. RoboCop, it's good to have you here.
I'll be back later.
Is RoboCop a Mister? That's a philosophical question there.
That's its own
Alex Murphy is a man.
That's right.
So it's a Mister.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson. What a weird rejoiners we're getting. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Brandon, when we were talking before the break, we were talking about the Max rollout, and we have to clarify, we're talking about what used to be HBO Max. And they were talking about
the Warner Discovery streaming service.
Okay, well, what I was confused because I'm seeing all these videos and all the usual suspects on YouTube that are making these videos about what a train wreck it is. But you were pointing out things I didn't know, but about them listing people as creators side. But what does that have to do with how it's operating? I guess.
Well, I mean.
Like, is there other problems?
Well, there were sign up issues. We were told that HBO Max subscribers would just have to log in, but now there's been talk that they've had to create whole new accounts. Some people haven't had to do that. It's very glitchy. It's almost like it's geo-gated. Depending on where you are, you have to do something different to sign up for it. if you were
Is that what
already,
GeoGate means? Like, depending
Basically-
on where you live, it behaves differently?
right.
Okay.
You know, it's like geo-blocking, you know, a region where, you know, you can't get certain things there. Geogating is where you have to, like, you know, you have to pay differently, or you have to set up differently in order to get that.
Okay.
It's one of them newfangled internet words. A lot of people don't use them.
Yeah, I
I spend 90% of my time on the internet these days, so I mean, I'm inundated with them all.
So it's technical problems.
There's technical problems. People had just gotten used to the way that HBO Max, in and of itself, had the most ludicrous, way of library set up. Things were not where they should have been. Mm-hmm. You had to search high and low to find things, and that's one of the things my friend Tim complained about a lot, because he's one of those guys. Everything should be alphabetical. It should be by category. It should be by genre. Blah blah. He's very Anyway,
I don't think they ever do anything alphabetically on streaming services, do they?
No.
Yeah, but so it's not user friendly.
It's not user friendly. It'll never be user friendly, because neither Discovery Plus nor HBO Max were really user friendly. So I don't know why it would change now.
Sorry, I had a question,
okay.
Brandon. How long? Okay, it wasn't all that long ago we were talking about the HBO Max. I mean, we were talking about HBO teaming up with Discovery,
Right.
And now they've gone and done this new thing. So I mean, there's just all these changes one after the other.
Well, I mean, ever since they merged, they said that their end goal was to make one specific streaming service that encompassed all of their stuff. What they didn't tell you is that they were going to get rid of a bunch of their stuff in order to make room so that it could all be there. And you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, I mean, but that's something that's going on across the board. You know, Disney Plus just got in trouble with their fans because of how many things that they pulled off the service without notice. You know, they let people know, like, Willow's going away, and you know, this is going away, and we're pulling this, and we're, you know, these movies are going out. They just got rid of
them. Yeah.
And you know, they gave you enough time that you could get in there, you could watch them, and you know, one good time before it was gone. But then there were things like Runaways, which they had only really dropped the third season maybe a year ago, but they didn't advertise it, so a lot of people didn't realize that the third season was up there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can watch that. It wasn't on the list, but it still got pulled. It's gotten to the point where streamers don't get the chance to see what has been put in there before it's gone in some cases. Which, you know, with Netflix, you know, we always know that shows are going to leave because licensing is going to pull back. Because, you know, Netflix was, for the longest time, I think even now, only maybe 25% of Netflix content is actually stuff they put out.
I didn't even know it was that high.
Everything else
less
is
than that. Yeah.
Oh no, there's a lot now.
Yeah.
But you know, the majority of it is still licensed stuff, and you know, there's everybody who's like, we're pulling this back. So, you know, we heard a lot about this when these things were launching. We're pulling this back. We're pulling this back. But we're now seeing things like Max and you know, Disney Plus and even Amazon are, you know, kind of shirking things. Amazon's picking up a lot of the licenses for the stuff though that Disney and you know, Max are shirking.
Well, speaking of Max, I actually one of my friends actually came up with like an ingenious idea for, we were watching some obscure anime that you can't find on any streaming service. And so they were kind of raising the question
of... you watching a bootleg?
Anyways, good thing RoboCop left.
Yeah.
Anyways, they were wondering if, like, you know, the idea of like making an equivalent to anime for the Criterion a channel where it's like, oh, these things that have long lost their licenses that, you know, we would have otherwise not been able to see beforehand, being like an anime streaming service for unlicensed like services like that. I like the idea of like, rather than things just being destroyed port line and sinker, like just completely disappearing, you have like these sorts of auxiliary streaming channels, like to kind of like for people who still want to see these things that are about to be gone.
You mean like Tubi and Freevee and Roku?
And 4V.
That's the problem. There's too many. Man, there's just so many.
Have you never watched anything on Freevee? Man, it's like you can get through to them through IMDb, and they've got a ton of stuff that's not streaming anywhere.
It's too much.
You know,
there's too much content, too many streaming. I mean, we are in the middle of a streaming. It's a still fairly new.
See, we think that we're in the middle of a streaming, downfall. But Netflix just said that they've had more signups since their password crackdown than on average day. It's 75,000 signups per day in the 6 days following the crackdown here in the U.S. And on the these past 2 weekends, Saturday and Sunday, they saw over 100,000 signups each day. They are doing more business now than they were doing during the pandemic.
Okay.
Well, Netflix has also played a very smart game, and they knew that everybody was going to come after them, and they did.
Yeah.
And now Netflix has sat on their hands, behaved themselves, continued doing what they're doing, and now Brandon just, drops the news. Oh, yeah, by the way, quietly, while everybody else is merging, changing, moving shows and all that stuff, all the free TV stuff is coming up, and Netflix is back in the game.
Well, this isn't the end of the conversation, you guys. It's still
really
alive. However, it is the end of the show. Where did the time go, you guys? Oof. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Brandon Olmstead, letting you all know I will sell out everyone in this room if you give me a streaming show.